Good news, team. Today we are getting all kinds of nerdy. Hello WordNerds, happy Monday and welcome back to Ink Slinging. Today we are going to dive into one of my favorite and least favorite writing topics. It is my favorite when it comes to other authors' works. It is my least favorite when it's something I have to do, and that is world building. But there is good news in all of this because recently I have found a tool that has been so helpful when it comes to my own world building endeavors. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that with all of you. On our live chats, I've mentioned a few times now this year that I have been learning about Dungeons and Dragons and figuring out how to play. And I've been trying to learn how to DM, which is basically crafting the game for other players. So in all of that, I have picked up the Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master Guide, which is basically the how-to of creating a game for different players to work through in order for their characters to go on adventures and defeat bad guys and all of that fun stuff. But it has also been the best possible tool for world building, so I wanted to share a bit of that with you guys because there is so much information about Dungeons and Dragons online, and it is all too easy to take all of that and turn it into your own world building resources that kind of helps get the juices flowing when it comes to figuring out what it is you need when you're creating your own worlds, your own character races, your own magic systems, and everything in between. Of course, a lot of this book does talk about how to create an actual adventure in terms of using the Dungeons and Dragons rules and all of their gameplay logistics and all of that stuff that doesn't really apply to creating a world for a book. But the first section is all about creating the world your characters are going to play in, and it is an absolute goldmine when it comes to figuring out the questions you're supposed to be asking yourself when you're creating a world from scratch, because sometimes it is so hard to know where to start. This is something I struggle with all the time. I feel like world building should be something I enjoy so much, but it is such a daunting task that just knowing where to start is sometimes half the battle. So based on the Dungeon Master's Guide, the best place to jump in creating your own world is looking at religion, because that's going to affect a lot of the other things that are going on. So it gives you a lot of great descriptions of types of religions. So you're looking at animism or monotheism, and then you want to dig down a little deeper into whether your gods take physical forms. And it just asks so many questions that I never would have thought of, but make it so much easier to just answer automatically. Sometimes you'll find you already knew the answers in a way, but you weren't actually able to put it on the page with what exactly you meant or how that's going to factor into your world building. They also go into things like creating maps and where to place settlements and cities and just all of the what your world actually looks like. There's so much in this book that is just wonderful that I can barely scratch the surface on it in just a few minutes long video. But I absolutely recommend looking online for anything related to creating a world for Dungeons and Dragons, because that is going to lead you down a really fantastic path in terms of figuring out your own fantasy world, or you can shape this into a more sci-fi world if that's more what you're looking to do. There's also different kinds of role-playing games that are more sci-fi based, so maybe those will be a great resource for you. But basically this is just a really great jumping off point. If you're not sure where to go, you can even just pick up this book, or a lot of libraries will have it available that way as well. So there are lots of options for you, but I have just been blown away by how much easier my world building has been because of my adventures into Dungeons and Dragons. I still have so much to learn, but this has been so helpful both in terms of figuring out the game and figuring out my own writing. Even if you are a fairly strong world builder already, this does offer a lot of little tidbits for things you might not have thought to add in terms of minor details like what kind of coins your characters are going to be carrying around and how much different goods cost. Really, it's just super helpful, and I also think a lot more people should be playing Dungeons and Dragons, so it is worth checking out either way. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to join us on Sunday for our next live chat. This one is going to be our book club for Queen of the Tearling. I'm hosting this one. I loved the book a lot, but I'm sure it's going to be an interesting chat because I don't think everybody did. So hopefully we will see you all there. In the meantime, happy reading, happy writing, and I'll see you next time.